First ever national championship. Good! Good! And it counts! It counts! This place is pandemonium!
One of the most unforgettable Final Fours in history, 1983. Welcome to our look back at the NCAA Final Four. I'm Chris Fowler. Houston's Phi Slamma Jamma returned in an epic battle with the Louisville Cardinals. Those two schools could have put up a respectable score on dunks alone. The other matchup was treated like an afterthought. Long shot North Carolina State against Georgia. Now, the Bulldogs had upset defending champion North Carolina in the regional final. Jim Valvano's Wolfpack had staggered past Pepperdine in double overtime, then beaten West Virginia by a single point. We'll take a look at the memorable matchups from Albuquerque when we return.
The 1983 Final Four was about to begin. The opening tip controlled by Georgia's 6'7" Terry Fair. But that's about all the Bulldogs controlled in the opening minutes, as the Wolfpack's long-range bomber, Derek Whittenburg, puts the first 4 points on the board. The Pack was off and running, while Georgia showed its Final Four jitters, hitting just 4 of their first 23 shots and being out-hustled on the boards by the much taller Wolfpack front line. Bulldog coach Hugh Durham knew that quickness was the answer to the team's early woes. And quick is the only word to describe Gerald Crosby, as the 6'1" guard strips the ball from Thurl Bailey and cuts the NC State lead to 5, 19-14, with 5:35 remaining in the first half. But North Carolina State fought off the challenge. They broke the Bulldog double team, got the open outside shots, and controlled the inside as Thurl Bailey collected 8 points and 8 rebounds, giving NC State a 33-22 lead going into the locker room. What started as an 11-point halftime lead grew to a 14-point differential as Thurl Bailey puts the Wolfpack up 39-25 with 17:27 remaining. Georgia was not about to let the lead get any larger. Gerald Crosby hits from 19 feet to cut NC State's lead to 12. 3 minutes later, Georgia's pressure defense creates an NC State turnover. Donald Hardy off to Vern Fleming for a layup. And the score, North Carolina State 43, Georgia 33, and a shift in the Final Four momentum. With the altitude at 5,000 feet, everyone was tiring. But Georgia began to challenge the Wolfpack inside. Terry Fair with the offensive rebound, creating what Hugh Durham wanted, but had not seen much of. The fast break. Reserve guard Donald Hardy kicks it out to James Banks, who lays it in and cuts the lead to 8. NC State 49, Georgia 41. 9:54 remaining in this first semifinal game, but the Georgia pressure defense begins to take its toll. The Bulldogs were tiring, and the Wolfpack was on the run. 10 straight NC State points. Sidney Lowe with one of his game-high 11 assists off to Thurl Bailey, and it's North Carolina State 57 and Georgia 41. And on the next possession, Lowe again to an open Bailey for 2 of his game-high 20 points, and Jim Valvano's club goes up by 18, 59-41 with 5:56 remaining. Georgia was not about to throw in the towel. A Richard Corrin tip-in off of a Gerald Crosby miss cuts the lead back to 13 with 3:09 to go. And then Crosby makes up for his miss with this steal. And the 2-on-2 Georgia break ends in a Vern Fleming layup. And it's 59-48 with 2.5 minutes remaining. With the lead down to 6 and 1:27 left on the clock, Georgia takes its last timeout. Hugh Durham trying to choreograph a comeback that had whittled an 18-point lead back to 6 in just over 4 minutes. But there just wasn't enough time left. Thurl Bailey putting in the final bucket that gave NC State a 67-60 victory and a trip to the NCAA National Basketball Final. The Cardiac Kids were living up to their team of Destiny Billing. Run and gun was almost too mild a term to describe the start of this second semifinal game. The first half was a slam-dunking, seesaw battle of super athletes. In the first 7 minutes, there were 6 ties and a flashy style of play that could only be outdone by what was to follow. With Houston up by 4, 16-12, Louisville did their version of Tinkers to Evers to Chance as Milt Wagner passes to Scooter McRae, whose touch pass to Charles Jones cuts the Cougar lead to 2. On the Cardinals' next possession, Scooter McRae's turnaround jumper is off. His brother controls the rebound, only to Team Olajuwon start the Houston fast break with a block retrieved by Michael Young. Young goes the length of the court, feeds to Clyde Drexler, who jams home his 8th point. Houston is back on top by 4, 18-14. For Louisville, Milt Wagner was their first half standout, scoring 16 points in the first 20 minutes, mostly from the outside. But Wagner had the inside moves as well, gliding by Reed Geddes and tying the score at 24 with 7:46 to go in the first half. The athletes were putting on quite a show in Albuquerque. Akeem the Dream gets a piece of a Milt Wagner shot, and Alvin Franklin leads the Cougar break one more time. He sees Clyde Drexler, who literally powers through freshman Billy Thompson, and the game is tied for the 10th time at 34 with 3:11 left in the first half. With Louisville ahead, Houston went to their force in the middle, Akeem. Clyde Drexler feeds the big man, whose soft touch brought the Cougars within 2, 38-36. And in an eye-for-an-eye fashion, Scooter McRae, off of a perfect Milt Wagner touch pass, jams it over Akeem, and the Louisville lead is back to 4. Scooter McRae picks off an Alvin Franklin pass, only to have the infamous checkered towel of Guy Lewis tossed into his path. A reaction of frustration that cost Guy Lewis a technical foul and gave Louisville a 5-point, 41-36 lead going into the locker room. The Cougars came out roaring in the second half. They weren't about to let their chances for an NCAA final appearance slip by. Here are 4 Houston shot opportunities. First by Drexler, then by Olajuwon, and then 2 more by Drexler, off of a very aggressive Cardinal defense, cutting the lead to 3, 41-38. And 1 minute later, with 16:43 remaining, Michael Young puts Houston ahead for the first time in 10.5 minutes. Houston 43, Louisville 41. But Louisville stormed right back. On one end of the court, it was Scooter McRae battling Akeem. And on the other end of the court, it was the second half of the brother combo. Rodney McRae, who jams home this pass from Lancaster Gordon, knotting the score at 43 with 16:43 remaining. Then 2 minutes later, it's Charles Jones feeding a wide-open Scooter McRae, who makes his point clear. And it's now Louisville 51, Houston 45, 14:43 remaining. Momentum had begun to shift towards the Cardinals, and Houston ran into even more misfortune as Larry Mishaw fouled out, charging into Charles Jones with 13:28 still left. But then the Jammas of Phi Slamma awoke. Michael Young off of a Drexler alley-oop. The lead is 6. Houston 51, Louisville 57. Clyde Drexler off of the fast break. Houston 53, Louisville 57. Then it was Benny Anders' turn, making the steal. Getting the right angle. And the right step. Houston 55, Louisville 57. A minute and a half later, Anders feeds Clyde Drexler for what would become the slam of the game. A double-pumping two-hander. Houston 60, Louisville 57. For Louisville fans, smiles were not coming easy And neither were they for the Cardinal huddle, as Danny Crum called his second timeout. Down by 8, 58-66 with 9:07 remaining. 7 minutes later, a key steal by Scooter McRae. He feeds to Lancaster Gordon, who takes it right at Akeem. The Cougar lead is down to 6, 82-76 with 2:25 to go. But that's as close as Louisville could come. Akeem with 21 points, 22 rebounds, and 8 block shots makes the score 88-80. And then Benny Anders with a slam dunk. Houston 90, Louisville 80. Then the final touch, as if it were rehearsed time and time again. Akeem with the block. And Michael Young with a lofty layup at the buzzer. Houston goes to the NCAA basketball finals for the first time in their history as they defeat a very talented Louisville squad 94-81. As the ball went in the air for the opening tip, the experts predicted that Jim Valvano would have his cardiac kids take the air out of the ball to control the tempo, but right off the bat, it was clear that Valvano's strategy was to attack. After missed shots at both ends of the floor, Cozell McQueen snagged this offensive rebound off of Thurl Bailey's shot. Then over to Sidney Lowe for a 20-footer. Lowe's shot was off, but close enough for Thurl Bailey to slam it home and give NC State a 2-0 lead. After a Houston turnover, Derek Wittenberg came back with a shot just a bit off the mark. But Lorenzo Charles had the inside edge and gave State a surprising 4-0 lead. Then another Cougar turnover gave NC State the chance to go up 6-0. A chance Thurl Bailey gladly capitalized on. But the Cougars quickly put some numbers in their scoring column with the patented smooth moves of Clyde Drexler. And the inside finesse of Larry Mishaw. Guy Lewis's kids were on the move, playing a fast break style that NC State had to stop. After down 6-0, Houston comes back to take its first lead as Michael Young gets his own rebound and puts in the follow-up, giving the Cougars a 1-point edge at 7-6. The Houston surge was not just a product of good offense. Their tenacious defense forced the Wolfpack into a 4-minute scoring void. But even though NC State was having their hands full of the Cougar defense, Houston was also having a tough time converting. Here missing on 4 inside attempts. With just under 9:30 left in the first half, and NC State leading 12-11, the big men for both teams started their move. Thurl Bailey goes over Olajuwon for 2. But then Olajuwon does the same on the next possession. But the inside game of the pack was limited, as Akeem the Dream often never left his feet to block the Wolfpack shots. Realizing the force was inside, Valvano had his troops try it from the outside. And no better choice than dead-eye Terry Gannon, who hit 59% from the ACC 19-foot three-point line during the season. Gannon with this basket gave NC State a 5-point, 20-15 lead with 6:15 remaining in the first half. But soon, the big men took control again. Houston's Olajuwon was able to break loose upon the realization that Derek Wittenberg was a weak link in State's zone defense. On the other end of the court, Thurl Bailey showed his flair for the jumper with 2 quick outside releases, one from the wing, and another off a quick outlet pass from Cozell McQueen. This one gave the Wolfpack a 7-point, 26-19 lead with 3:46 left in the half. With 2:47 left in the first half, All-American forward Clyde Drexler picks up his 4th foul. A costly mishap that would force Drexler to stay on the bench much of the second half. And as time expired in the first half of this NCAA championship game, NC State had a surprising 33-25 lead. The start of the second half became a story of momentum. Houston came out with a new starting lineup. Drexler, with 4 personal fouls, was on the bench, along with fellow starter Larry Mishaw. In their places came 6'5" sophomore Benny Anders and a 6'7" senior Brian Williams. And right away, Anders lit up the scoreboard, cutting the Wolfpack lead to 6. Houston's full-court man-to-man pressure defense forced a Wolfpack turnover, and it was Anders again, this time driving through the lane, getting his 9th point and cutting State's lead to 4, 33-29. All of a sudden, it appeared as if the momentum was shifting towards Texas as the Southwest Conference champions cut the lead to 2, as the Force, Akeem the Dream, made his second half presence known with a key rebound and an even more important inside score. Jim Valvano wisely called a timeout to regroup with 17:45 to go. But it appeared that the break in the action could not stop the Cougar run. NC State's Lorenzo Charles was denied the inside. And on the other end, Akeem was the man again, knotting the score at 33, the second tie of this championship game. NC State needed a quick basket to regain the lead they had for almost 20 minutes. But Derek Wittenberg turns the ball over, and it's the Houston fast break. Ending with an Alvin Franklin score, the 10th straight Houston point. Houston 35, North Carolina State 33. Elijah Wan looked invincible on defense, guarding the inside and creating the fast break. And offensively, with his soft touch, this time increasing Houston's lead by 3, 38-35. And after Michael Young gave Houston a 5-point lead at 40-35, Jim Valvano had to use another timeout. He had to do something about Houston's second half 15-2 scoring tear and a 12-2 rebound edge. Everyone was tired, especially Elijah Wan, who came out to catch his breath at the 10:04 mark. With Elijah Wan gone, Houston went to a spread offense, but the spread offense might have been the spark that ignited the Wolfpack backcourt, as Sidney Lowe sneaks the ball away from Larry Mishaw, and the Pack is off and running. It's Sidney Lowe off to Derek Wittenberg for one of his patented 22-footers. Houston 42, North Carolina State 37. After Reed Geddes' field goal, it was Derek Wittenberg again. His first try is short, but Cozell McQueen dishes it back out. And this time, Wittenberg's 16-footer is good. Houston 42, North Carolina State 37. Derek Wittenberg with all 6 of the Wolfpack's second half points. The momentum was beginning to shift, and Houston was easing up a little too soon as Sidney Lowe makes his second steal in a minute and a half. Terry Gannon is fouled by Geddes. The sharpshooting guard hits on 1 of 2 free throws, cutting the Houston lead to 4, 44-40 with 7:38 to go. Then on Houston's next possession, another turnover. Gannon knocks the ball out of Benny Anders' hands and off his knee. North Carolina State ball. Terry Gannon gives Sidney Lowe a 20-foot opportunity, and the veteran guard connects, pulling the Wolfpack within 2, 44-42 with 6:26 to go. And at the 3:43 mark, with Houston up by 6, 50-44, Valvano instructed his kids to foul, make Houston win at the free throw line. After a Sidney Lowe basket cuts the margin to 4, Clyde Drexler is fouled. Drexler hits both ends of a 1-and-1. But Lowe comes back and keeps NC State within 4, hitting his third straight shot. And it's Houston 52, North Carolina State 48. On the inbounds, Lorenzo Charles fouls Michael Young, sending the 67% free throw shooter to the line for 1-and-1. A miss. And North Carolina State can cut the lead to 2 with 2:55 remaining in the championship game. Wittenberg drives inside, unsuccessfully challenging Elijah Wan, who throws an errant outlet pass. Recovered by Sidney Lowe, who sees his backcourt partner of 7 years, Derek Wittenberg, open in the corner. A 22-footer that's all net. A 2-point game. Houston 52, North Carolina State 50. Houston's ball. Clyde Drexler brings it up the floor. Over to Michael Young, who feeds it to Elijah Wan. His 7-footer is off the mark, and NC State has a chance to tie. They led by 8 at halftime and fell behind by as much as 7 in the second half. And now Sidney Lowe feeds to Wittenberg one more time. 23 feet away, and the score is tied at 52 with 1:59 remaining. It's foul time again, and this time it's Franklin. Wittenberg goes for the ball, and it sends the 63% free throw shooting freshman to the line for a 1-and-1 with 1:05 remaining. Unbelievable tension. Insurmountable pressure. The shot misses, and North Carolina State controls the rebound. 2 timeouts left for NC State, and Jim Valvano uses one with 44 seconds left. Both coaches planning their final strategies, hoping to win the coveted title, the 1983 NCAA Basketball Championship. North Carolina State plays 4 corners, going for the last shot. Nothing seems to be open. 7 seconds left. Derek Wittenberg sends up a prayer. And it's answered by Lorenzo Charles. North Carolina State wins 54-52. The Cardiac Kids are the 1983 NCAA basketball champions.
Jim Valvano had shocked the world. Remember, the Ultimate Cinderellas had to pull several upsets to win the ACC tournament, or they never would have made the NCAA field. But once they got there, Jimmy V and his true believers made the most of it, slowing down Houston's frantic pace, winning on the Final Four's most famous buzzer shot ever, beating the Cougars with their own weapon, the dunk. Thanks for joining us for one of the classic Final Fours in NCAA history.